From bitter fruit to golden oil, the story of Papa Mbi and his palm plantation. In the humid, sun-baked plains of the southwest region of Cameroon, nestled between muddy roads and green hills, lies the small village of Abanda, a place where time seems to move slower, where every drop of rain is a blessing and every harvest a gamble. It is here that the story of Mbi Ilam, a palm plantation farmer, husband, father, and survivor, unfolds like the fronds of the very palms he spent his life tending. A life rooted in struggle. Papa Mumbi, as the villagers fondly called him, was not born into wealth. He inherited a modest plot of land from his father, barely 2 hectares dotted with wild oil palm trees, their spiky leaves waving like swords in the wind. His father had died young, succumbing to a preventable illness, and Mumbi, the eldest of 6 children, had to become a man far earlier than most. At 23, he married his first wife, Mbol. Over the years, he married 2 more, Naomi and Abena, as tradition allowed. With 3 wives and eventually 9 children, the burden of providing food, education, and security became a Herculean task. Yet Mbi never considered giving up. He believed in the land, in the red gold hidden in the pulp of the palm fruit. A government that never came. Every year, the government promised rural farmers improved seedlings, fertilizers, and better access to roads for transportation. And every year, those promises evaporated like mist under the morning sun. Palm oil cooperatives formed in nearby towns, but only the well-connected benefited. Those like Papa Mbi, who lived in the village without electricity or running water, were forgotten. The roads remained impassable during the rainy season. Middlemen came to buy palm oil at humiliating prices, exploiting the farmers' desperation. Mbi would sell 20 liters of oil for less than the cost of sending 1 child to secondary school. The cooperative officials never visited Abanda, and the local chief was more interested in hosting government officials than advocating for his people. The fire within. But Membi had something more powerful than government aid: his family. He taught his children to climb the palm trees safely, to recognize ripe fruit, to boil and press the kernels. His wives worked tirelessly, harvesting, frying, and filtering the oil. Mbole managed the household. Naomi helped in the fields. Abena kept the books. The children, Etienne, Neba, Judith, Thomas, Martha, Baco, Lillian, Peter, and Grace, grew up with oil-stained hands and aching limbs. But they also grew up with values: discipline, sacrifice, and unity. They carried jerry cans on their heads to the market, walked barefoot to school, and studied by kerosene lamp at night. It wasn't unusual for the family to go days with only boiled cassava or corn porridge. During one particularly harsh season, a bacterial disease affected their fruit yield. Hunger was constant. Judith fell ill with typhoid, and there was no money for treatment. Membi sold his last goat and walked 12 kilometers to the nearest clinic. A glimmer of hope. Change came slowly, like the steady drip of palm oil from a press. Etienne, the eldest son, passed his advanced level exams and received a scholarship to study agriculture at the University of Buea. He promised to return and modernize the farm. While at university, he learned new pressing techniques, ways to treat palm seedlings, and how to create soap from palm oil. He returned during holidays to teach his siblings. They built a rudimentary oil press from scrap metal and parts scavenged from an old generator. It doubled their production. Thomas and Martha, the next in line, also gained admission to university. They studied business and rural development. With the profits from better quality oil and local sales, the family gradually expanded the plantation by renting neighboring plots. They planted improved hybrid palm trees that bore fruit faster. By 2015, all 9 children had completed at least secondary education. 5 graduated from university. Together, they registered Abanda Palm Ventures, a small business that exported refined oil to nearby cities like Douala and Kumba. Full circle today, Papa Mi sits on a hand-carved stool under a mango tree beside his old farmhouse. His hair is silver, his hands weathered and lined with scars from decades of labor. Yet his eyes gleam with pride. His children have built him and his wives a new brick house. They installed solar panels, a water tank, and even a small television. The same hands that once blistered from harvesting now receive warm bowls of soup and gentle massages from grandchildren. The government still hasn't come. The roads are still broken, but the family doesn't wait anymore. They've built their own drying shed, a community oil press, and even sponsor local orphans to attend school. The very palm oil that once smelled of sweat and sacrifice now carries the fragrance of dignity and purpose. Conclusion: a legacy of hope. Papa Mbi's story is not just about one man, but about thousands of nameless farmers across Cameroon. Men and women who fight daily battles against poverty, injustice, and neglect. But it is also a story of resilience, of how family, faith, and sheer willpower can plant seeds of change even in the most hostile soil. His life remains a testimony that while the government may forget its people, a united family can move mountains or, at the very least, harvest hope from the humble palm.